We're back in the studio with Dr. Anil Vaidyan from the Dutchess County Department of Health, and we're talking about the coronavirus. Now, we kind of covered what the coronavirus is, and we know that it's easily spread. It's a bit more serious than the average flu. So how is Dutchess County and the Hudson Valley prepared for this, and what should we do, any extra precautions or things as people, because it's really not here yet, but it's on its way.
Absolutely. Whenever we deal with outbreaks, epidemics, or even a pandemic, there are stages of preparation and responses that we go through. With any early preparation and response, the focus is always on containment. So earlier on, we try to find out cases that may be in the community, cases that come to clinical attention, and we go very quickly and isolate those individuals to make sure that those index cases or sentinel cases are not transmitting within the community.
All right. So when it comes to identifying and isolating those, how would I know if I had the coronavirus? Would there be different symptoms than like the average cold?
So earlier on, the cases of coronavirus were all related to travel. So the cases that came to the United States and the earlier cases were identified because they knew that individual traveled to a particular part of China, came in with symptoms, and of course, the antenna goes up, they're tested, and they test positive.
Well, we just found out this morning there's someone in Westchester who's the first person to person here in New York. So that person wasn't traveling. So if that does start to snowball, what do you look for when it comes to this disease?
Correct. So there comes a time of transition where a lot of the focus will move away from containment, although we still continue to do that, to one of mitigation. And that threshold is if we see transmission occurring readily in their community and the cases are just exploding, what we typically do is counting cases makes no sense. Isolating those individuals makes no sense at that stage. And so what really is very important at that period of time, and if that occurs, is community mitigation strategies. So some of these strategies include social distancing. So if you don't have to, staying away from congregate setting. If we know a pathogen or a germ is being transmitted in the community, one way to acquire it is to start going to places where people who typically may be sick are circulating.
So basically just be more like me and Robyn and avoid social settings.
Lock yourself in it.
We do that because we don't have any friends. But
we do that for many reasons.
This is the first time it's worked out to our advantage.
All right, so that would be something.
That's one. And that may be a little difficult to do. But one thing that's so simple and people don't tend to stress it enough is hand washing. Before I talked about how we typically transmit. And so when we touch surfaces and we sort of like get exposed in that way, what we don't realize in any given day, we're constantly touching our eyes, nose, and face. And that is exposing us to pathogens that we touch on surfaces.
So hand washing, hand sanitizer,
critical.
And being aware of the things that you're touching and not touching your face.
Absolutely.
I was just wondering, what the time frame with something like this, or is it just you just never know? Is this something, concert season's coming, festival season is coming. Is this something that maybe 6 months down the road we can say, phew, made it through there? Or is this something that could go on for quite a few months?
See, right now we don't know how it's going to evolve. So one of what you described can definitely happen. It could pull a MERS or SARS,
just disappear?
And disappear.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there is a potential because of how we know that it is behaving now, that, again, the spread could be quite significant.
All right. So at this point in time, it's really just about, personal washing your hands, just being aware and, being sanitary. Now,
and the other important thing to stress is if someone is ill, is to make, plans to not go to work, not go to school and expose individuals. So these are the simple community mitigation steps that they could take.
So now if we pass that point, and still it seems to be spreading through the Hudson Valley. I know Dutchess County, there was a big meeting yesterday with Mark Molinaro. You guys have a plan, right? And there's different stages that you guys are prepared for?
So we are transitioning from sort of the containment stage to mitigation. And so even though the normal things and the processes and responses we do will continue, a lot of it is right now geared towards community education, empowerment, and making sure people have the tools to protect themselves and the people around them.
Okay. But we do know, and it's nice to know that if it does start to spread, you guys do have a plan in place, and you guys will be prepared to, kind of deal with it.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much. I really appreciate you joining us this morning, and hopefully we won't need you to come back and tell us as this thing evolves, but if it does, you're more than welcome to come back in. We'd love to talk to you more.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Doctor.